The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Well, as Elena said, I am Natividad Garcia. I'm an assistant professor in Ecuador, in Guayaquil, and I have two main research interests. One is about structural behavior and structural design, and the other one is about concrete itself like a material. Now, so at the beginning, I will start an overview of this topic that is structural behavior of cement Bahareque for social housing. Is a case study in Guayaquil City in Ecuador. Yeah. So, well, this was part of my research group, and this is a collaboration between a school and Imperial College London, where I study my PhD. So this is the table of conduct. So we will start with a brief introduction, then the methodology and design, the environmental impact assessment, the budget, and finally the results and some conclusions. So about the introduction, first of all, we need to know what is Bahareque itself. That maybe you have heard about it, or maybe not, because it's more common to hear like bamboo. Or in other countries in South America, like Peru or like Colombia, it's called quinche. So, but in Ecuador, it's called Bahareque. So Bahareque, as you can see here, is a composite construction system made by, from material found in the forest, especially in South America, and also Asia. So this was in the past, as you can see here, and here is at the present time, there are some houses that you can compare like concrete houses or with steel. So it is composed of a bamboo structure, usually guadua cane, and forming a closed front. Also, this is called like a panel. So the motivation of this research is because it is important to have ecological structural system, and also for certain areas, in this case, that is the cement Bahareque. So according to the CEPAL, that is United Nations Economic Commission, the housing deficit in Latin America, it was around 22 million houses. And according to the INEC, that is the Ecuadorian regulation, is National Institute of Statistics and Census in Ecuador, it is the quantity housing deficit around in 2010, it was 700,000 houses. So that's my motivation to study this type of houses, that it can be for social requirements. And here you can see the distribution of guadua cane plantation in Ecuador. Los Ríos, Manabí, and Guayas represent like around 70%. This is in the coast in Ecuador. And Pichincha, another is most the highlands and also the forest. That is, you can find less cane plantains, but still they have some plantation of this type of cane where you can find, and you can construct easily this type of houses. So it is important also to know some guidelines and codes that, as you can see here, there are just very few guidelines about how to use or how to employ bamboo or Bahareque in houses or in construction. So we have the design guide for engineering Bahareque housing from INBAR. INBAR is the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization. Then we have the Andean Standard for Design and Construction. The NEC is the Ecuadorian guidelines that we have guidelines also in 2015 about how we can construct which type of load it is required to construct this type of houses. And another one is Earthquake Resistant Construction, Evaluation and Rehabilitation Manual for Traditional Bahareque Housing, that is in Colombia. So the areas that you can find more information is in Colombia and in Peru. There are a lot of social housing made with Bahareque or with bamboo. And to consider a social housing, the prices needs to be between 13,000 or 23,000 USA dollar. Our currency in Ecuador is USA dollar. So this is the price to consider that is a social housing. The objectives of this research is to design a single family house of this social interest. That's the reason that it is made by Bahareque. And part of the research was to, first of all, study the structural design, like perform the modeling of the structure, verify the performance, not just the seismic analysis, then the environmental impact, to see the budget as well, and also the house plan drawings. In this case, architectural, structural, and also the installation plans for this type of house. And to select the alternative, we have to study the complexity of construction, because it's not well known, this type of methodology, also the project scope, the cost, the material availability, the social impact that it can have, the vulnerability to external agents, like the animals. There are some animals that can reduce the lifetime of this Bahareque material, and the architectural aesthetics. So we'll start this, the proposed system with the Guadua cane structure. As you can see here, the house, the model is just with everything with Bahareque. Then the split cane matrix, we need to have like electro well mesh, and then the mortar coating, just cement with water. And we have the construction system, the Guadua cane structure with cemented Bahareque walls. So for the methodology and structural design, we have made the data collection, all the analysis of the literature review, in order to check the geometry, properties, and also the design laws that we will use in this research. And the design consideration, regularity in plan, vertical continuity, symmetry, regularity in elevation, because in order to have a better understanding of this type of structure, we need to have regular structure to start, understanding this. Then we can change the geometry, we can change the plan, but at the beginning, we started with this regularity. And then for the modeling, the spectrum and modeling, we use the Ecuadorian codes. Then we check how many beams, columns we require. We have a prototype of the house, and then we started the modeling using a finite element program. Then we assess the environmental impact that is required for this type of structure. So we divide in phase and different activities, like the supply, the selection to put the Bahareque, then the pretreatment that is required in order to have the preservation of this type of cane. Then the construction, because we need to check if we have available material close to the place that we can construct these houses, the use and maintenance, the end of life, demolition or remodeling, and the waste management, the cleanup and removal. It is known that it lasts around 30 years, this type of houses, 25 to 30 years, if we have this type of consideration when we are constructing using Bahareque. So we need to check the pretreatment activities, the safety equipment that is well known in any construction, the construction activities, and also the waste management. Then the budget analysis, when we analyze our prototype of this house, we have found out that it costs like $17,000. So if you remember, it's in the range of, to consider a social housing, that it was in between $13,000 and $23,000. So for the design, at the end, we have the 3D perspective of the house. So it is like a concrete house, as you can see there. Then the structural modeling, the budget that is fulfilling the range of social housing, and the different constructed specification. And we have the drawing of the basement and also the first floor. That is considered 50 meters square in order to be a social housing, at least in Ecuador. And it also have the kitchen and laundry. There are room 1, bathroom, living room, dining room, and the other rooms in the upper floor. Then we have performed a time history analysis with different earthquakes in order to see and to check if it will fulfill the dynamic response, in terms of the seismic analysis. And we have found maximum deformation around 0.01 meters. So it was, it fulfilled the code, the NEC, that is the Ecuadorian regulations. So we have finally have the conclusion of this study that the budget within the fair range of social housing established by MIDUBI, this the Ecuadorian guidelines, negative environmental impacts produced in all phases are minimal. Source of development to be addressed, not only in the province of Manabí that we have our case study, but also in all those locations close to the coast. It's important to notice here that our government now, it is considering to construct bamboo houses because there are wide range that is required to have this type of houses. So it will start in Manabí, that it was an earthquake in 2016, so there are a lot of housing there. And the behavior against seismic load is sufficiently acceptable to suggest building project of this type. And this type of construction constitutes a highly resistant alternative for housing at a very affordable cost, with an added advantage of being very lightweight straw. So as a future work, a social interest housing designed in reinforced concrete, conventional material in the region, comparing it with the design at the same houses, as you can see here, this is with Bahareque and this is with concrete. And considering nonlinear static analysis like pushover and life cycle analysis of each corresponding construction process. This is an ongoing project that we are developing now at the SPOL. And another future work is that we are considering actually with Christian is a study like hybrid simulation of seismic response of a Bahareque column versus a reinforced concrete column. That it can be very interesting to do this one. So we have the numerical structure, we have the physical structure, we can have a column, a Bahareque column, and also the physical structure, just the same column, but with concrete, reinforced concrete. So this is the main activities, about bamboo structure, and then I will give you an overview of other research that I have studied. For example, this, the first one, This is attenuation of pedestrian-induced vibration in girder and cable-stayed footbridges using tunnel mass damper. As you can see here, there is a cable-stayed bridge, and you can see the simulation that is the pedestrians are walking along the deck. So this one, the first part of the girded footbridges was developed a code in Python, everything, and we have pedestrian load model that consider the behavior, of each person, and also the feedback between the structure and the person. So because when we are crossing, for example, a bridge, we know that if we are very close to the boundary, we will go to the center. And also if we are maybe close to another person, also we will want to avoid that person. So it simulates in that way. And after that, we have made some design recommendation how to employ this tunnel mass damper. How many we can employ and where, because there are not a guidelines that it says, okay, you can, depending of the structure, you can use, I don't know, in the center or in the corner, etc. So we have studied different configuration of this tunnel mass damper in order to construct a slender footbridge. We are talking about in the main span length for cable stayed bridges around 50 up to 300, the main span length. Also, this one, there is comparative study of the cost and behavior of reinforced concrete special moment frame buildings with drop and also hidden beams subjected to seismic load. This is under review in Frontier and Build Environment Earthquake Engineering. So because these are the most common systems that we employ in Latin America. So we have a study and we check what happened with the dynamic and the static response using this type of configuration. Then about more concrete, that I told you that I have this background as well, because in my previous job, so I also developed some sustainable concrete that, for example, this one, that is comparative study on the property and high temperature resistance of cell compacting concrete with various types of recycled aggregate. So recycled aggregate from different construction, and this is already published. This is a collaboration between SPOL and Hunan University, that is in China. And also the comparative evaluation of sisal and polypropylene fiber reinforced concrete property, that is already published. This is a collaboration between SPOL, University of Zurich, United Kingdom, and also Holcim, Ecuador. But in this case, we have studied different types of fibers with the different length. And then we have made some study about fresh concrete test, then compressive strength, tensile strength, flexural strength, and at the end with no destructive tests like pulse velocity and also rebound number, in order to also to give some recommendation. And also development of concrete incorporating recycled aggregates, hydrate lane, and natural volcanic pozzolan, that we have like quite a lot of volcanic pozzolan because we are a country where we have a lot of volcanoes, as you maybe know. So we studied how was the performance of this concrete, and this was as well a collaboration between SPOL, Holcim, and also Zurich University. And this one is the preparation, characterization, and life cycle assessment of arrayed concrete blocks. In this case, as you can see here, we study the concrete blocks, I mean the normal ones, and what happens if we include air. And then we check the behavior. When we find out the optimal design, we then simulate in a finite element program to see what happened and how is the performance in terms of structural design. And also some concrete research incorporating mining tailing sands that is already published. So because we have like quite a lot of mining there in Ecuador. So what happened with the behavior of concrete, if we can use maybe in the future for some structural design. So we are also studying this topic. And these roles of enhanced interfactional transition zone, improving the mechanical property of concrete prepared with different types of recycled aggregates. That is a collaboration between Hunan University, SPOL, and University Malaya. We are still studying how we can introduce this recycled aggregate, for example, from different buildings. You know that you have that material, so you can go and crush it and to see if you can use as aggregate, maybe fine aggregate, or maybe with like an additive. So we are studying that type of concrete. And finally, the use of concrete, but with rubber concrete. So we check if we can use it, and this is a collaboration between SPOL, Universidad Espíritu Santo, that is a private university there in Guayaquil, and also with Holcim. We have the advantage that we perform all the analysis with Holcim, that you know that is well-known company that do research in concrete design and in concrete, a new type of concrete. So thank you for your attention. This is, as you can see, my main topic is about sustainable materials and how we can use these sustainable materials in sustainable structure. So that's the reason I have that two parts about concrete and structural design. So, and this is my research group that is with Christian as well. So I don't know if does anyone have any question.
Thank you. Now, stop the recording.